live session. This week we are thinking about burnout, and I think I'm going to keep this theme going for a bit longer actually, because I've had so many messages and conversations about this. It's really, really hitting a chord with so many of you. So first of all, let me know that you are watching, whether you're watching live or whether you're watching on replay. Hit the like button and do comment, do play along with me. I do appreciate all of your comments. I'll get back to them obviously as soon as I can. Now I need to kind of like break this up into two areas really, because like I said, I've had so many conversations about it, and women messaging me, and that's my first caveat really, is that yes, of course, burnout affects everybody, regardless of gender. There's no discrimination. Burnout has no discrimination, and there's no discrimination in my delivery, apart from to say that my client base is 95% female. So I do talk more about the effects on women, because I'm a woman. My friends are predominantly women. My clients are predominantly women, and so I have this I don't know, skewed perspective. I don't know whether that's fair to say or not, but that's the world that I live in. That's the bubble that I work in and that I live in. So yes, burnout affects men and women, and the second caveat is that burnout affects non-mothers as well as mothers. And so a lot of the conversations that I've been having have been about gender roles at work, gender roles within the family, and that is a very real topic, and we'll certainly be coming back to that and focusing more on that as we go on. But I'm also working with 3 women off the top of my head who have suffered, who are in the midst of burnout now, and actually none of them, if I'm honest, none of them are mothers. So it's there's so much information that I want to talk about, and there's so much that I want to share, that I think I'm going to keep this one more generalised, and then I'll do my session next week on gender equality and how that works for mums, because the gender equality and burnout gap is huge. It's just such a big thing to talk about, but I don't want to narrow it down so much for today's session. So let's have a think about actually what is burnout. And how does it affect, and why does it affect? And there are lots of different reasons why we might be burnt out in our jobs, and that is mostly work related, because burnout tends to be work related. But of course, there are other factors that go into that as well, and all of in fact, no, I've just thought of somebody else, but I do have a mum that's a mum that's struggling with it. But they're all relationship based. So there is always a relationship element, either with a partner or family members, or actually just trying to manage relationships and trying to manage time. And it always comes back to time. It always comes back to feeling overworked, overburdened, relationships at work, relationships at home, relationships within the wider family or social context. And it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. And I have been there myself. I have, worked myself absolutely to the bone, and I absolutely get it. And it's about with all of these things, with every topic that I ever talk about, and that my colleagues talk about, and that my peers talk about, recognizing something for what it is usually the first biggest step that we take to changing it. We might not know how to change it. We might not know what we need to do to change it, but actually recognizing it for what it is really important. And I think one of the things with burnout is that it can often be confused with depression, because there are huge similarities between the two. Although they are very different, the crossover can be confused. And it's really about, like I say, recognizing it for what it is, and then being able to, as best we can, step back from it and then work out how to make the changes that we need to change. So stress at work is going to be the predominant factor here. And it's usually because there are either unrealistic demands on your workload, having a lack of boundaries, and that's not a criticism. I mean, that actually, as I said it, that felt quite derogatory, but it's not derogatory at all. It's about not having clear boundaries in place for how we limit the work that we do, and where we then find the time to do the things that are important to us to redress the balance. Now, like I said, if you are a working mum, you've got a whole extra layer, a whole extra load of stuff on top, because you are then having to not only manage your workload, your colleagues, your reputation. You feel like if you're not doing enough, if you're not doing it well enough, that people will be think ill of you, think that you're not up to it, think you're not capable, which is, I would say, largely incredibly untrue. But these are all the thoughts that kind of creep in. Imposter syndrome creeps in, and all sorts of other things kind of then jump in the mix. And it's incredibly difficult once you're in that to then be able to separate out what is right and what is fair and what needs to be done and what doesn't. And that comes down to boundaries. That's down to your own boundaries about what you deserve as well. You'll know if you've been watching or reading me for a while that I talk a lot about self-worth. We think here about our value in life, our contribution, what we deserve, what we are willing to put up with or settle for, and where we are willing to put the boundaries in place and say, enough now, I can't do any more than this. And what happens with burnout is that the bigger the workload gets, the harder obviously it is to stay on top of it. The hours get longer. The time for yourself to heal and mend and recharge and repair gets smaller and smaller. And then it starts affecting you physically. It starts affecting your emotional well-being, obviously, but then your physical well-being, headaches, maybe digestion problems, sleep. Obviously, sleep is a massive sign that something's going wrong. If you're obviously permanently exhausted but not sleeping well because you're so agitated and so anxious about what needs to be done, what you haven't done, and whether or not you did this well enough or good enough, and then a whole kind of plethora of other things that come with it. And of course, with the stomach problems and with the headaches, we're considering stress and we're considering anxiety, but we're also considering diet and nutrition, and how well you are feeding yourself and how well you are nourishing yourself, and what you need to be doing to take care of yourself, because we are, as women, we are excellent at putting ourselves at the bottom of the pile and making sure everybody else is okay, and not taking the time to do what we need to be doing to look after ourselves. So, I really, really want to get your thoughts and your comments on this. And I want to make this, like I said, I want to make this an ongoing conversation, because when we're thinking about burnout, when we're thinking about gender equality, when we're thinking of maternal burnout, these are all conversations that need to be had. And I think part of the problem is that we don't feel we're able to have the conversation. You don't feel you're able to have the conversation. You don't feel like you're able to raise it with your colleagues or with your management or with your HR department, because once you've opened that floodgate, then suddenly you're going to be labelled, you're going to be looked at differently, you're going to be thought of differently. And especially if you are somebody that is wanting to climb the ladder and is looking to get that promotion and is looking to make partner and is looking forward to how you are going to professionally develop yourself, then of course you don't want to be flagging up anything which you might perceive is going to be a concern for your wider management structure. But here's the thing, and this is something that I've learned really recently, and I think this is a really fabulous thing that I want you to really take on board, is that to be great leaders and to be a great authority in your given space, you need to be able to show compassion. You need to be able to demonstrate compassion. And if you are not demonstrating compassion to yourself, then how can you demonstrate compassion to those around you? Yeah. So you will no doubt have people coming to you, and I saw this, within my social work, going back a few years to my social work life. Burnout was absolutely rife, and for totally understandable reasons. Deadlines, like most of you will have deadlines that need to be met. Pieces of work that need to be completed. Like, it's not like, I might do it today, I might not, it depends how I feel. Like, this isn't the world that we live in. And so we need to be realistic about that. However, overworking and not having clear boundaries for yourself ripples down, it trickles down the line. And you want to be a leader in this. You want to be a leader in saying, we need to have clear boundaries. We need to have clear guidance around how we are going to work at our best. And working at your best is not working yourself to the bone. And it's not working your colleagues to the bone. It's just not, it's not effective. Nobody can be working their best when they are exhausted, when they are physically unwell, when they are emotionally unwell. Nobody is working at their best. So it is about having clear boundaries. It is about having good time management. Okay, maybe I need to air quote that, good time management. It is about being able to be compassionate to yourself. It's about being able to make sure you have good exercise habits, right? Whatever that exercise habit looks like to you, whether it's about going to the gym, whether it's about meditating, whether it's about my favourite, sticking on an audiobook and going out for a half-hour walk, whatever that looks like to you, that is what you need to be doing. And you need to be talking to your colleagues about it, and you need to be having the conversation, not from a point of view of I literally feel like I'm about to die, but having a conversation of, look, this is starting to feel unmanageable for me now, and in order for me to do my best, I need to know where to draw a line, and I need your help and support to do that. Okay, I mean, it's a big culture. It's a big culture shift. It's a big cultural change for so many. And I really do understand that. As somebody who was working, studying, raising literally a toddler and a newborn baby all at the same time, I totally get the martyrdom that kind of goes with it. Like, I've got to be doing it all. If I'm not doing it all, then I perceive myself as weak, let alone what anybody else is going to be thinking. And it's a ridiculous narrative to have, and it doesn't work, and it doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve your team, and it doesn't serve your clients. So let's start that conversation. I'm going to be carrying on this theme for a little bit longer because I feel absolutely passionately about it, and I would love to know your thoughts on it. So let me know your comments in the comment box below, or direct message me and let me know your thoughts. All right. Enjoy the rest of this very windy day, and I'll catch up with you guys soon.